day everyone. We are Group 3 and we are here to conduct a seminar in ICT policies and safety issues in learning. The Information and Communication Technology and Security Policy is a formal statement of the rules and guidelines applied by the municipality which must be adhered by people utilizing and managing the ICT facilities. This policy has been developed in line with the Electronic Communication Security Act 68 of 2002, the South African Minimum Information Security Standard and Control Objectives for Information-Related Technology are COBIT, ISO 17799, System Administration Networking and Security Institute or SANS, and Information Technology Infrastructure Library or ITEL. The purpose of this policy is to inform users and managers of their responsibilities when utilizing information assets, as well as for protecting technology and information assets. To specify the mechanism through which these requirements must be met, to provide a baseline from which to acquire, configure, and audit computer systems and networks in compliance with the policy, to minimize disruption and misuse of the municipality's ICT infrastructure, to ensure that municipalities' resources are used for purposes appropriate to the business mission, and to define what users may not to do on the various components of the system infrastructure. Before beginning to incorporate technology into your classroom, talk to your student parents about what you'll be doing. Do you want to know that student will be using gadget in class and will appreciate insight into how they be used? Here are some things to communicate to the parents how the technology will be used. Types of technology that will be used. Roles student will be expected to follow. Safety precaution you'll be taking. How often these tools will also be needed at home at all. School use a diverse set of ICT tools to communicate, create, disseminate, store, and manage information. In some contexts, ICT has also become integral to the teaching, learning, and interaction through such approaches as replacing chalkboards with interactive digital whiteboards, using student-owned smartphones, other devices for learning during class time, and the flipped classroom model, where students watch lecture at home and the computer use classroom time for more interactive exercises. When teachers are digitally literate and trained to use ICT, these approaches can lead to higher order thinking skills, provide creative and individualized options for students to express their understanding, and leave students better prepared to deal with ongoing technological trends in society and the workplace. ICT issue planner must include considering the total cost benefits equation, supply and maintaining the requisite infrastructure, and ensuring investment are matched with teacher support and other policies aim at effective ICT use. There are 6 potential issues of bringing technology in the classroom. First, student using social media. Of course, teachers fear their student will be applying around on social media instead of using their devices for educational purposes. Today's kids spend quite a bit of time on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, etc. To prevent this issue. When preparing your network, make sure to include a next generation firewall that provides application filtering. Second, network overload. When you put mobile device in the hands of all students, teachers and staff, your network can easily become overloaded if it wasn't appropriately designed to handle all those wireless devices. Many schools' current wireless network infrastructure just are not designed to handle the amount of activity and the number of devices that are sucking up bandwidth. Getting a wireless site survey is vital for any new major classroom technologies integration like iPads or beads. Third, security breach. Students many times are more curious than they are malicious. They want to push the boundaries just to see if they can. If your network allows them access to the admin servers, you can bet they're going to get on it. Security is the big challenge and one of the main reasons many schools have never allowed major classroom technology rollouts previously. This can avoided with what we call role-based access control. This allows you to know who, what, when, and how people are connecting to your network and limit their access based on that profile or role you have set up. Fourth, cheating. At one time, students had to pull a pre-written cheat sheets out of their pocket to have the ability to cheat it. Certainly seems easier that they can now cleverly pull up a cheat sheet on their device. The good news is with the ever-evolving trends, technology software companies are developing ways to alleviate the cheating problem by, for example, allowing teachers and administrators access to students' screen while in the classroom. 5. Gaming. There are a ton of free gaming apps out here and people love them, especially kids. These addicting games can be quite the distraction and take away from productivity in the classroom. Again, like with number one, application filtering can fix this issue. 6. Damaged devices. If you have kids or you just been around them, you know there is a risk of manage when handing them new devices. My advice here is to give your student a quick tutorial in how properly use and take care of whatever devices your school chooses. Also make sure they are equipped with very durable covers cases. Lastly, if insurance is an option, you better take it because most devices are quite costly to replace. As with anything, there are risks with bringing new technology in the classroom. This drawback actually pale in comparison to the world of possibilities classroom technology can bring. These potential issues can be avoided by proper planning. This is where we can help. We have worked with schools all over the country to bring mobility to the classroom.
I am here to tackle about technology rules for every classroom. Having technology in the classroom is exciting and motivating for students. All they need is a certain amount of freedom to run with the technology and feel empowered. However, letting students lost on the internet or even within a certain tools is not always safe or conducive to a productive learning environment. This is where technology rules come into place. With certain guidance in place, students can take charge of their learning journey safely. The following examples can help you with this process. So first is keep guidance in mind. While rules are meant to keep students safe, they can also act as guide, telling students what websites they may visit and what tools they can use for specific tasks and lessons. Keep guidance in mind as you design your classroom tech rules. Second, start with a digital citizenship lesson. The process of creating classroom rules is a great opportunity for talking with students about digital citizenship or and digital literacy. Have students show what they learned in the lesson by coming up with the rules they think are most important. Push them to explain what part of digital citizenship their rule is covering and why it's important. Third, work collaboratively. Nobody likes rules unless they feel a sense of ownership over them. That's why it's important to involve your students in creating them. There are a number of ways to go about getting their input. Fourth, pull students. Ask students what rules they consider to be the most important. Using a multiple choice, let them write in their ideas with a text. Pull the responses together, including as many as possible, and then present the final rules to the class. Fifth, collaborate during class time. Hold a brainstorming session with the entire class. Write suggested rules on the front of the room display, or capture them with the ink recording system and email the file out to every student, or write the rules onto a poster board to hang on the wall immediate afterward. Use multiple display formats. Plan to display your classroom technology rules in a number of formats, making them available to students regardless of where they are. A few fun and simple ways to display them, which is included classroom posters. Classroom posters is to display the posters in multiple places, especially near the computers, tables, devices, and other student work areas. Next is online presentation. Create a precept or Mayo Studio presentation to pair rules with imagery, videos, and links. It will be fun to create this way with your students and send it to the parents and other teachers. Third, online video. This is a great way to use your video making skills. You could also pair students together and assign each team one rule to illustrate with a video of their own and create a classroom technology rules by YouTube playlist they can refer back to. Classroom technology rules keep your students safe and help guide them through their own learning journey. Involve them in creating the rules so they feel a sense of ownership over them and therefore see more value in them. If you're not sure with what rules to implement, take a look at the classrooms for using them to help you get started. And don't forget to print these adorable free posters too. Thank you.
So good day everyone, I am Camara Wiltrin. So I am going to continue what Shaznes represent about the technology rules for every classroom. So the 6 rules for every classroom is handle computers with care. So computers, like any other electronic devices, need regular maintenance. So just like your annual medical checkup program, your computer also needs scheduled maintenance of computer hardware to ensure that you extend in lifespan. So this is what many people call preventive maintenance. So there are tips. So first is computers should be loved and cared for. Treat your treat your computer like a BFF for the length your program. So the second is computers do not like to be dropped. So it sounds obvious, but it happens more often than we think. So third is computers and all electronic devices for what that matter do not like liquids. So that includes water, coffee, even designer lights, so sodas and alcoholic beverages. So computers don't like parties. So it is important that you take good care of the computer to keep it working well. So following these easy steps will ensure that the computer lasts longer and requires less maintenance. So as is the seven rules is no foods or drink policy. So traditionally computer labs have a number of logical policies, one of which is to ban or highly restrict food drink consumption. So drinking near a computer, especially laptop, is the craziest thing a user would ever do. So laptops don't like drinks, any kind of them. So some may tolerate a small sip of juice or coffee, so or anything you eat, but that's all about. But any other kind of drink, coffee, tea, or any soft drinks will kill your computer almost instantly. So the eighth rule is surf safely. So billions of people use the internet every single day. So and knowing how to stay safe using it is vital. So always be sure to verify the sites you visit on the internet. So a certain amount of information such as IP address and domain name is automatically sent when you connect. So websites can also track the pages you visit, determine the version of your browser and operating system, and even compromise files and passwords. So, how to keep safe on the internet? So, first is keep your operating system updated and patched. So, second is use antivirus and anti-spyware software and keep them updated. So, third is do not visit untrusted website or follow links provided by unknown or untrusted sources. So fourth is keeping your application updated and patched, particularly if they work with your browser, such as a multimedia programs used for viewing videos. So last is block pop-up windows, some of which may be malicious and hide attacks. So this may block malicious software from being downloaded to your computer. So the nine rules is don't play games. So children are becoming acutely acquainted with mobile technology long before their K to 12 classroom years. So when they arrive at their first organized school experiences, they are often already savvy on PC computers or mobile devices. So if their parents use this technology correctly, these kids had at least some exposure to phonics and math through learning website downloads and other applications. So the last rules is so what happens when I do not log off our campus computers. It always be sure to log off computers when you finish using them. Leaving a computer logged into your student account can leave your personal information vulnerable to others. It is inconvenience to the other students and staff members who would like to use the computers. If you do not like to log off your computers, running Windows and then attempt to log into another Windows computer, so you will be logged out of the former machine and the current computer will notify you that this has taken place. The campus Apple machine, however, will not let you log onto another computer while you are still logged into another machine. So be sure that you are logging out of the computers when you are finished using them. So there are 8 tips. So first is teach students to use the same computer every time. So this gives a greater sense of accountability to students and helps you to figure out what went wrong if there are random files downloaded up to the desktops or etc. So second is give instruction before students get on the computer. So when once they have a computer in front of them, so kids don't want to listen to you. So show the website activities on your classroom projector and give direction. They have students open their laptops or situate themselves on your classroom computer. So third is if you need to give direction while students are at their computers, walk students through the steps at a quick pace. So don't ask, is everyone on the web page? Everyone got their password entered. So just like look around. So fourth is focus on maintaining a calm demeanor. So many teachers get stressed out when students are working on computers because there are so many things happening at once. So fifth is make sure important websites and password are displayed and set up clear procedures for troubleshooting. So then when students ask which site are we on or how do I log in, so you can gesture toward the sign and let the kids problem solve. So six is always have something for students to do when they finish early. So kids shouldn't have to ask what to do or worse, find your own form of entertainment. So seven is have an alternate activity planned in case something goes wrong with your lesson. So what if the internet is down or too slow? So what if a site is black? So what if your subscription to a site is no longer valid? So is all three of this have happened to me repeatedly. So have at least two other things students can do, preferably things that are similar to past assignments, so it won't take a lot of explanation. So the last is give meaningful engagement assignments, preferably ones that allow students to work at their own pace. So remember the goal to minimize time off tasks. So don't make the entire class sit passively at any time. So if you then wait while three kids struggle to get online and then again while you reprimand a few kids for being off task. So that's all for the rules for every classroom's technology.
So, legal, ethical, and societal issues in media and information. So, in Republic Act 10,175 or the Cyber Prevention Act of 2012 is a law in the Philippines approved on September 12, 2012, which aims to address legal issues concerning online interactions and the Internet. So, among the cybercrime offenses included in the bill are cyber squatting, cyber sex, child pornography, identity thief, illegal access to data, and libel. So what is cyber? So cyber means relating to or involving computers or computer networks such as the Internet. So this is the example of the cyber. So cyberspace. Cyberspace refers to the virtual computer world and more specifically is an electronic medium used to form a global computer network to facilitate online communication. So this is the example of the cyberspace. So cybercrime. So cybercrime refers to the criminal activities carried out by means of computers or the Internet. So like for example, they are posting, oh, you are fat, you are loser. So that is the example of the cybercrime. So next is the cyberbullying. So cyberbullying, the use of electronic communication to bully a person, typically by sending messages of an intimidating or threatening nature. So this is the example of the cyberbullying. So next is hacking. Hacking refers to the practice of modifying or altering computer software and hardware to accomplish a goal that is considered to be outside of the creator's original objective. Hacking is those individuals who engage in computer hacking activities are typically referred to as hackers. So, this is the examples of the hacking. Next is phishing. Phishing is the attempt to obtain sensitive information such as usernames, passwords, and credit card details and indirectly money, often for malicious reasons by disguising as a trustworthy entity in an electronic communication. So this is the example of the phishing, like they are downloading or your information. Next is illegal downloading. So illegal downloading refers to obtaining files that you do not have the right to use from the internet. So the example of illegal downloading sites is the Pirate by RARBG.2. So that is the example of illegal downloading. So digital piracy. Digital piracy, the practice of illegally copying and selling digital music, video, computer, software, and etc. So this is the example of the digital piracy. Next is identity thief. Identity thief is the deliberate use of someone else's identity, usually as a method to gain a financial advantage or obtain credit and other benefits in the other person's name, and perhaps to the other person's disadvantage or loss.
Netiquette refers to using common courtesy in online communication. All members of the class are expected to follow netiquette in all course communications. Use these guidelines. Use capital letters sparingly, they look like shouting. Forward emails only with a writer's permission. Be considerate of others' feelings and use language carefully. Cite all quotations, references, and sources, otherwise it is plagiarism. Use humor carefully. It is hard to read tone. Sometimes humor can be misread as criticism or personal attack. Feel free to use emoticons for a smiley face to let others know you are being humorous. Use complete sentences in standard English grammar to compose post. Write in proper paragraphs. Review work before submitting it. Next is virtual self. Virtual self, the persona you create about yourself. Virtual self for many years, schools and universities have had to change the way they work and teach in order to fit with technology. Software like PowerPoint, for example, which has long been used in education tool, wasn't designed for education. A virtual world is a typically multi-user, computer-based environment in which users interact with another through pre-programmed avatars or digital representation of the user. So next is digital divide. Digital divide is economic inequality between groups in terms of access to use of or knowledge of ICT. The divide within countries can refer to inequalities between individuals, households, businesses, and geographic areas of different socioeconomic and other demographic levels. A teacher stands at the blackboard, chalk in hand, while students sit at their desks, shuffling a set of papers and taking notes with their yellow so that students can acquire the technical skills they will need to be successful in the. While some students are considered digital natives, having grown up immersed in technology, other students are, a variety of reasons, have not reached this level of a technological skill. Next is computer addiction. Computer addiction is the excessive use of computers to extent that it interferes with daily life. The excessive use of, for example, interfere with work or sleep, result of problems with social interaction, or affect mood, relations, and thought processes. Computer addiction. The fair use guidelines for educational multimedia state that educators who create educational multimedia projects containing original and Copyrighted materials may be used to projects for face-to-face student instruction, directed student self-study, presentation at paper workshop and conferences such personal uses as tenure review or job reviews. Next is plagiarism. Plagiarism is an act or extents of using or closely imitating the language and thoughts of other author without authorization. The representation of the author's work as own as by not crediting the original author. Glad Plagiarism Services Incorporation offers a user and software-based approach to preventing and detecting plagiarism. One software program called the GLAD Plagiarism Teaching Program or GP Teach is a tutorial designed to provide students with an understanding of exactly the constitutes plagiarism and instructions on how to be avoid should be able to recall their own style of writing better than anyone else. The program works by substituting a standard-sized blank or every fifth word in the paper suspected of plagiarism. Next is copyright. Copyright owners have the right to control the reproduction of their work, including the right to receive payments for that reproduction. So, copyright is a right to prevent others from copying all or substantially all of the works and its copyright subsist. The Copyright Act defines copyright as the sole right to produce, the procedure, the work, or any substantial part and literature. Copyright is one of the easiest and the best ways to protect computer software. Copyright protects the form of selection of information but not the information itself. The ideas expressed in the copyright work can be taken and reused so long as the form of selection of information is not substantially duplicated. Cybersec is an area in which sexual addicts increasingly acts out. This article explores the various forms of cybersex that are available to clients. Three basic forms of cybersex are presented. First, online pornography exchange. Second is real-time asexual exchanges. And the last is multimedia software. Lastly is cyber defamation. Cyber defamation is an unprivileged false statement of fact which tends to harm the reputation of a person or company. Let's look at a couple of examples of the kinds of communication that might amount of online defamation. Let's say that you have a blog and that you are wrote that John Smith and his wife 2 weeks ago. If this statement is not true, remember, truth is one of the absolute defenses of defamation. It is defamatory. There is no way that this statement, if false, is not defamatory. Are opinions protected? But let's clarify this statement. Let's say that wrote Let's say that you wrote, I think John Smith hit his wife 2 weeks ago. Statements of opinion are not statements of fact, and so theoretically are protected from libel suits. And that's all for our seminar about ICT policies and safety issues in learning. Hope you understand or have any idea of what we are talking about. Thank you.